Good Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News on Instagram. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up today. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and today, in an entertainment spotlight, he brings part of my conversation with digital media strategist and my friend, Anzour S. Jallouqa. Enjoy today's program. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Tuesday headlines. In national news, 516 new COVID-19 cases in Mississippi reported, no additional deaths. The Mississippi State Department of Health reported 516 new COVID-19 cases and no additional coronavirus-related deaths on Monday. There have now been 127,205 COVID-19 cases in the Magnolia State and 3,443 coronavirus-related deaths since the first COVID-19 case was confirmed in Mississippi on March the 11th. In a related story, Pfizer says early data signals COVID-19 vaccine is 90% effective. Pfizer says an early peek at its vaccine data suggests the shots may be 90% effective at preventing COVID-19, indicating the company is on track later this month to file an emergency use application with U.S. regulators. Monday's announcement doesn't mean a vaccine is imminent. This interim analysis from an independent data monitoring board looked at 94 infections recorded so far in a study that has enrolled nearly 44,000 people in the U.S. and 5 other countries. Pfizer did not provide any more details about those cases and cautioned the initial protection rate might change by the time the study ends. Authorities have stressed it's unlikely any vaccine will arrive before the end of the year, and limited initial supplies will be rationed. Global markets already responding to the victory of U.S. President-elect Joe Biden exploded on the news from Pfizer. All major markets in Europe where infections have soared are up 5%. In the U.S., Dow futures rose 5% and were up about 1,400 points just over 2 hours before the opening bell. In more national news, Biden targets virus as his White House transition begins. President-elect Joe Biden signaled strongly on Monday that fighting the raging pandemic will be the immediate priority of his new administration, an abrupt shift from President Donald Trump's more unworried approach to the virus as the nation surpassed 10 million COVID-19 cases. Biden began with a direct appeal to all Americans to wear masks, a departure from Trump, who has mocked Biden and others who make a point of always wearing protective face coverings when around others. In an official move, the president-elect formed a coronavirus advisory board dominated by scientists and doctors, while Trump has had a falling out with the medical experts on his own virus task force. The swift actions come at a critical moment in the U.S. effort to combat the coronavirus. Surging caseloads, including new infections among leading figures in Trump's administration, offered a fresh reminder that the nation is still in the grip of the worst pandemic in more than a century. The challenge before us right now is still immense and growing, and so is the need for bold action to fight this pandemic, Biden said after being briefed on the virus. We are still facing a dark winter. He called on Americans to separate politics from the virus and embrace mask wearing. We could save tens of thousands of lives if everyone would just wear a mask for the next few months. Not Democratic or Republican lives, American lives, Biden said. Please, I implore you, wear a mask. Over the past 2 weeks, the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases has risen nearly 65%. In more national news, Trump fires Esper as Pentagon chief after election defeat. President Donald Trump fired Defense Secretary Mark Esper on Monday, an unprecedented move by a president struggling to accept election defeat and angry at a Pentagon leader he believes wasn't loyal enough. The decision was widely expected as Trump had grown increasingly unhappy with Esper over the summer, including sharp differences between them over the use of the military during the civil unrest in June. Trump announced the news in a tweet, saying that effective immediately, Christopher Miller, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, will serve as acting secretary, sidestepping the department's number 2 ranking official, the Deputy Defense Secretary, David Norquist. And finally, in entertainment news, it was all a dream. Whitney and B.I.G. inducted into Hall of Fame. In a normal year, the newly inducted Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class would have hit the stage and performed the well-known songs that made them famous and helped them enter the prestigious organization, but not in 2020. Because of the coronavirus pandemic, this year's all-star group was inducted Saturday night in a taped HBO special that told the stories of Whitney Houston, Notorious B.I.G., and the Doobie Brothers' rise to fame, and how acts like Nine Inch Nails, T-Rex, and Depeche Mode heavily impacted the music industry in generations after them. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Have a life outside of work. Always consider your personal needs because they are no less important than your work obligations. Make sure you have a life outside of work. Empower yourself to reintroduce play and relaxation into your life. You do not need to feel you are shirking your duties for more vital obligations because when you do not take care of you, you cannot take care of anything, including your work. Allow yourself plenty of time to unwind between work duties. Introduce balance into your life by scaling back on your duties and taking play breaks. This will help you to accomplish more. Your concept of success must not be associated with working until you drop or putting your labors before anything else. Today, make time to put aside obligations and take care of you. And remember, enjoy your day.
For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Digital media strategist and my friend Anzour S. Jallouqa joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about not only how he's been able to build his own brand through a pandemic, but also help others to do the same. Here's part of our conversation. I want to talk about how you've met the challenge of this year, Anzour, because I think for a lot of people, as I said, this year has been a year of reflection for them, but also for many people, it's been one of those things where they've had to say, you know what, is it time for me to make a change? How have you been able to navigate the waters of 2020?
You know, I think living life and establishing a really clear life goal and some principles and guiding principles have really helped. You know, it's all about your support system and the structures around you. It's really easy to get lost in everything that's happening nowadays, whether it's, you know, geopolitical or even in social. You know, we were kind of extracted from interacting and engaging with people that are important and loved ones earlier in the year, right? Start of March.
Right.
And sometimes folks put a lot of heavy emphasis on the day-to-day disciplines of, say, driving into work, maybe they're taking the same road, grabbing a coffee. And since the beginning of the year, I think it's been really difficult on people to continue to be very passionate about the things that they're doing, whether going to the gym and such, when everything was extracted. And you had to sit with yourself very quietly during the shutdown. And I think it's, you know, what I found to be very helpful is, number one, getting back to actually reading and reading more than one topic to keep your mind fresh. Journaling has been really, really helpful. Watching documentaries that are something other than Tiger King. Let's just put it out there, right? You don't want to kind of do those types of documentaries only, but sharing what you learn, which you do so very, very well. When you learn something and you share it with people that you think it's going to make a positive impact, that has really helped.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. Thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News here on Instagram. Be back with you guys tomorrow with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course, your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News. Let's make it a great one.